Hi, everybody. This is Vladimira Kuna, and I'm the international best-selling author of the Bible of the Masterminds. And I have an amazing Tim Lawrence here, who is the author of the new preparing book, Ruby, How I Found My Purpose. But he is international best-selling author, co-author with Renata Natali of the Casting Away, The Adventures of the Dead Man. So you can look it up. It's an amazing book, but he's got something new prepared, and every parent with a child will be absolutely thrilled to have this book. Hi, Tim. So good.
Hi, how are you? Hi, everyone.
Thank you. Are you well?
I am. Are you?
Great, thank you.
Good.
So, tell us something more about your book. What inspired you?
This is based on a true story. Back when I was in my 20s, I worked for a giant retail company, and I had to go out to a customer's home to replace a compressor in a refrigerator. And when I got into the house, I noticed the woman was in a wheelchair, and she had all these stacks of notebooks all over the place in every corner. I've never seen anything like it, but I just was curious. So as I got to work, I noticed the kitchen was very small and it had an island in it that wouldn't move. So I had to work on the compressor on the refrigerator, and it was very tight. So there was a sliding glass door right next to the refrigerator. So I pulled it out, I turned it sideways, I opened the door, and I accessed the back of the refrigerator from the deck. So I had a lot of tools to change the compressor. And as I got started, the husband came out and asked if I could move my tools so he could bring his wife out to watch the birds. I was like, well, okay. So I moved everything. He brought her out in her wheelchair, and her wheelchair was set up like an office. She had like a pouch for books and pens and a clip for binoculars and a camera and a little walkie-talkie. So if she needed her husband, she could radio him.
Oh, wow.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
She had an umbrella strapped to it. So as she came out and I was there, it took about 2.5 hours to change the compressor in this refrigerator. She filled me in for 2.5 hours on everything hummingbird. I had never seen so many hummingbirds at one time.
Oh, wow.
They had about 30 hummingbird feeders out, and her husband had this elaborate list of, they had all the hummingbird feeders numbered, and he had a piece of paper, and he would write down what days he changed out the sugar water so it wouldn't stay in there and be too old and get moldy. So he'd change out the ones that wasn't frequently used, and the ones that were frequently used, he just refilled. So she just was amazing with the knowledge that she had, and it just stuck with me. She said she could identify 38 different hummingbirds.
Oh, wow.
I have no idea how, but I was kidding around with her that it was like an airport. Hummingbirds were just coming and going and chasing each other. I'd never seen a hummingbird land before that day. So it was really cool. And it stuck with me over the years. And as of like, we wrote our book, Casting Away Adventures of a Dead Man, and we released it during the heart of COVID on April 21st. And after we released it, work was scarce because I couldn't go anywhere. So we were sitting outside, and my wife, Renata, suggested that I write the hummingbird story because I had told her the story years ago. So I thought about it for a little while, and I didn't know how to write it. So what I wanted to do, I figured out that if I write a children's book and teach children about hummingbirds and have them teach other kids, it'll create a better ecosystem for the hummingbirds. It'll teach kids, about nature and how to grow plants. So I wrote the book with the story of, I'm calling them George and Evelyn, and how she filled me in that day on all the information about how fast hummingbirds fly, how fast their heart beats, how fast their wings flap, what they eat, how they breed, they migrate from North America to South America every year. And that's there are over 330 different species of hummingbirds.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. The ones that come up the east coast of America are the ruby throat. And that's the only one for whatever reason. I don't know.
Okay.
And as they migrate, they'll go through the same area within 3 to 4 days of the last time they went through the previous season. So they have an instinctive routine and they know it. So it just all things hummingbird, as much as I could find out, I put in this book so kids can learn about hummingbirds. And then the parents and the kids, rather than doing this on their phone all
Yes.
day, they can physically be outside doing something
Yes.
useful.
Yes.
And then in the package, I'm going to have seeds that the parents and the kids can plant together and nurture them, teach the kids how to plant seeds.
Yeah.
And then once the seeds get large enough, the plants get large enough, they can transplant them outside to create a hummingbird friendly yard. And there'll be DIY flashcards in there to teach kids how, and to show kids and parents how they can create trellises and things like that for the plants to grow up so the hummingbirds can feed on the flowers. There's also another neat little thing I learned is you take a 5-gallon bucket and you throw fruit in there and put it outside and it'll start collecting fruit flies. And once you get a lot of fruit flies in the bucket, you cover the bucket with a net. And every day go out and release some of the fruit flies, then cover the bucket back up. The fruit flies will stay around the bucket trying to get back into the fruit. But a hummingbird will eat up to 300 fruit flies a day.
Oh,
for
wow.
protein. Yep. So once the hummingbirds realize the bucket's there with all the fruit flies, they'll come visit the bucket every day to get fruit flies.
Okay.
So, and that's just lift the lid, let a little out, close the lid, and they'll stay right there. And the hummingbirds will know to come to the bucket to get fruit flies.
I love that.
That's just a simple, easy thing that the kids can do and get into a routine of doing it to keep the hummingbirds coming back. So
I love the way you prepare it. It's good. It's very thought through, very informative, very children can learn. I love the interaction, like they feel. And you mentioned that you will have a journal as well, where kids can log the experiences. And kids, like I've got 2, and they love making notes. Like literally, if they can just write everything down into their little diary. So that's amazing.
And then there'll also be a handheld hummingbird feeder that you put in your hand, and the kids can sit there and let the hummingbirds come right to them and feed out of their hand.
Oh, wow.
So that'll give the kids an encounter with hummingbirds. And
that's brilliant.
That's how Evelyn got into watching the hummingbirds. She was hurt, and I'm not sure how she got hurt, but she was very depressed after she couldn't walk. And some days she wouldn't even get out of bed.
Okay.
And then one day she asked her husband to bring her outside on the deck to get some fresh air. And she had a red felt cap on and a red blanket on her lap. Okay. Hummingbirds love the color red. And she had a hummingbird come up and hover right in front of her, checking her out. And that's how she found her purpose, because after that she was hooked. And that gave her a reason to get out of bed, a purpose to get out of bed and go watch the hummingbirds. And she had hundreds of journals, composition notebooks that she had filled with all her encounters with the hummingbirds. I would have loved to have gotten all of them.
Yes, I believe. It's amazing when we see people with passion and like so many people actually don't share the stories. And I love what you're doing. I love that you're actually sharing it and bringing it to the kids. And it's so important. I didn't even know there are so many species, and kids are
only
just
in the Americas.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Which I don't understand that either, but they have found fossils of hummingbirds in Europe, but they're not there now.
Okay. Yeah, because I've never heard actually. I've never seen one in here. Well, we have to come over to see.
There you go. And in Arizona, the state of Arizona here in the States, they have a hummingbird festival every year.
Okay.
Well, thousands of people come because the hummingbirds are migrating through. So I have this giant hummingbird festival is one of the things on my bucket list.
Yes. Brilliant. Sounds amazing. Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely amazing. When is the book being published?
We're looking at early spring.
Okay,
So
so just in time.
right now it's in editing.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. So everyone look out for this absolutely amazing book. And we'll see Tim again because he'll be talking about his international best-selling book next time. So look out for another interview with him and Renata so they can give us more stories because that's a fascinating story as well.
Thank you.
But we have something exciting for you and kids, and we can just finally get them off the screen and do something really growing. That's
Right.
what I love that because they do
get
really,
outside and do something for real.
yes, that is true. With all the pandemic, kids are really glued to the screens, which
That
anything
is true.
which people create like you, it's amazing, really.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you.
thank you so much for your time and giving
All
us
right. Thank you.
really good one. And we'll see you soon.
All right, Vladdy. Thank you. Take
Bye.
care.